Question number 12, Andrew Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister of Finance, how much have departmental output expenses been cut in Budget 2014 for the 2014-15 financial year compared with the 2013-14 financial year?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, they haven't been cut. Departmental output expenses have increased slightly from $12.99 billion in 13-14 to $13.015 billion in 14-15. But actually, rather than the amount we spend, the focus has to be on the results we get from public services because, of course, as a member may be aware, money doesn't grow on trees. The BPS program sets 10 challenging targets for delivery, and we're making good progress, and the focus very much is on value for money as well as on the overall amount.
Point of order.
Point of order, Andrew Williams.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. I seek leave to table a document prepared by the Parliamentary Library which shows that the departmental output expenses have been reduced by $284 million.
Order. The document's been well described. It's a report prepared by Parliamentary Library, assuming for the member himself. Is there any objection to that being tabled? There is none. It can be tabled.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Andrew Williams.
To the Minister of Finance, what was the reaction from heads of departments in response to the significant cuts to departmental output expenses across all ministries in his budget?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, I'm sorry, the member is simply wrong, and I'm trying to divine why he is running this line of questions, because that's certainly not the advice from the budget. As I said, the budget, if anything, the departmental expenses have gone up very slightly. And I wonder if the member, to be of assistance to the House, is confusing the change of expenses from just single category to multi-category appropriations under the new law, which has may look like a change in some tables, but in actual fact is exactly the same.
Andrew Williams, supplementary question.
To the Minister of Finance, does he believe additional police officers will be able to be recruited into the police force given the fact that he cut a whopping $42 million from the police output expenses budget?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, and in particular the matter that the member raises, my advice is that that was simply a one-off amount that had been placed in the 13-14 year and was never expected to continue in the 14-15 year, and it's not having any impact on police numbers.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, Andrew Williams.
To the Minister of Finance, how well does he think the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment is set to manage health and safety, given the increase in workplace deaths and accidents in forestry and in mining, and given the fact that the Minister has cut $30 million from the Labour Department section of the MB budget?
Mr. Speaker,
Stephen Joyce.
On behalf of the Minister of Finance, I think it's important for the member to understand that there is a change there in the setting up of the Crown Agency WorkSafe New Zealand, where some previously departmental money has moved into the WorkSafe New Zealand budget, and actually there's a big and significant increase in the investment in health and safety through that adjustment. And I think, again, it's important to note also the work that's being done in that area. And while it's very early days, we are seeing, fortunately, some reduction in the casualty rate in the industries that the member raises.
Supplementary question, Andrew Williams.
To the Minister of Finance, does he believe rural and provincial New Zealand will still have good access to courts and not face further court closures, given that he has cut $22 million from the courts budget, which has seen courts closed in the likes of Dargaville, Fielding, Upper Hutt and Warkworth?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, I don't agree with the member's negative analysis. In fact, one of the key reasons that we're leading less court time than we did previously is that crime has dropped so dramatically under this government, which is why I make the point, Mr. Speaker, that actually it's not just about the amount of money spent, it's the quality of that expenditure. Now, the member may not know, but as I said before, money just doesn't grow on trees. And no matter how much you water the trees, you don't get more money.
Supplementary.
Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Having cut police, courts, Labour and at least 30 other departmental output budgets by over $284 million, how much additional funding has the Prime Minister's Protection Squad been allocated in the budget 2014, given the last 4 consecutive years of million-dollar blowouts for protecting the Prime Minister?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
On behalf of the Minister of Finance, and there I was feeling slightly guilty about that arboreal comment before, but no longer, because actually I think the member's question is ridiculous. The simple fact of the matter is, as I pointed out to him at the very first question he raised, it's gone up slightly, and that this government is focused on getting results for the investment that we make. And actually, one of the successes of all the ministers in this government, and I think for the Minister of Finance makes it easier to do his job, is that actually we're continuing to get better results from our public services all the time without putting buckets of extra money in.
Point of order, Andrew Williams.
I didn't hear any response to the diplomatic protection.
Order. The answer addressed the question that was raised by the member. That concludes questions for oral answer. I call on Government Order of the Day, number 1.
Appropriation 2014-15 Estimates Bill. Interrupted debate on second reading and the amendment proposed thereto.
Honourable Hekia Parata.
Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker. O tira huri noi tō tātou whare, tēnā